So you said you moved from consulting to Salesforce, right? So how was the switch? Was there any difference in people or in the work culture?
Hello, everyone. We are back today with a very special episode on Between Two Mules. Shubham and I have been working on bringing new content related to MuleSoft every week. Today's episode is a very special one. It will be the first time that Between Two Mules is sharing information about a highly demanding topic, Anypoint Partner Manager. To give us all the insights on APM, we have with us none other than the people who have broken sweat and worked on this product firsthand. Please welcome Product Marketing Manager Sarah Grace Mendoza, and accompanying her on our podcast today, we have Director of Product Management at Salesforce, Vijayan Ganpati. Sarah and Vijayan, before we deep dive into our podcast today, I would like you all to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, sure. I'll get started. Thank you so much, Ismeet and Shubham, for having us on today for your podcast. I love the title of your podcast. By the way, I think I told you that before. Between Two Mules is hilarious. I'm sure you took that from Zach Galfin. I can't even say his last name. Well, but Zach G's podcast, Between Two Ferns. But yeah, excited to be here. I've been with MuleSoft for about 2 years now on the product marketing team, have bopped around managing a few different projects, but about 3-4 months ago was given the opportunity to join Vijayan and work alongside him on this awesome product. And it's been a great ride so far. I've been drinking from the fire hose, trying to learn as much as I can. But I think in that short time, we've been able to do a lot of great things in really bringing this to market and promoting this product more out there to our customers, our MuleSoft community leaders, and to the general public. So we're excited to do more of that. And including, being excited to be here today to talk with you guys.
Awesome. Vijayan?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us here today. I know it's been a long overdue one. But just to introduce myself, I'm Vijayan. I lead the strategy and execution of our B2B integration product portfolio here at MuleSoft, with MuleSoft for a little over 3.5 years now. And I used to be on the community. I used to be on the consulting and industry roles in my previous job. So I apply the lens of real world customer use cases and how customers use integration products and patterns in general to how we build this product out. And happy to be here. Looking forward to the conversation in the next several minutes.
Vijayan is like a product rock star. He might not be bragging, but him with his leadership and his product team and engineering team, they've really accelerated this product and taken it to new heights. There's been a lot of great enhancements, which I'm sure we'll chat about today. But I just want to give another kudos to Vijayan for all the work that he's done on this.
Thanks, Vijayan.
Awesome, Vijayan. Just a quick question on your journey, Vijayan. So you said you moved from consulting to Salesforce, right? So how was the switch? Was there any difference in people or in the work culture?
It's obviously a different world. So in my previous role, I used to be traveling a lot to customer locations, doing architectural designs and implementation and overseeing implementations for different integration platforms in general. And then I also was on the MuleSoft ecosystem since 2014.
Wow.
So I had the integration B2B EDI background, and also I was part of the MuleSoft ecosystem, going to all the MuleSoft Connects and summits across the country. And then this switch to product management at MuleSoft was not something that was planned for. And I just happened to be connected with the product leadership at MuleSoft through my frequent visits to a number of customer locations and community events. And we happened to have a quick chat over a coffee and then made the switch. Coming to the role of kind of being in the product management in MuleSoft was a big change. Like kind of earlier, it was more focused on individual customer requirements, but then here we do have the responsibility of building a product that will be used by a growing number of customers, and we have a lot more responsibilities. I mean, not to say that the responsibilities didn't exist in the previous role, but the scope of those responsibilities are much bigger and broader. So it's been a good ride, and I think it was a good change.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Now I can see where you're getting the passion to work on the API.
Perfect. And talking about the product, we would like to start with the basics. So this particular channel is yet to introduce Anypoint Partner Manager to the audience. So let us begin by asking you the three basic questions. What is Anypoint Partner Manager? Where can customers use Anypoint Partner Manager, and who uses it, basically?
Yeah,
So
anyone can answer.
I actually just want to start with, it's funny because I know you brought this up with us as well, but there's been some misconceptions about what Anypoint Partner Manager can do. A lot of folks out there, they think that this tool is for MuleSoft partners only, or it's a product to be managing partners, but they have a different idea of what that means, right? So we've had to do a lot of clarification to the community and to our market that no, this isn't just for MuleSoft partners. It's actually built for business organizations that have a need to connect and communicate with other organizations that they have a trading partnership with, right? So yes, it's for partners, it's for organizations that are doing B2B, right? So any organization that is integrating and sending B2B transactions, whether that's via APIs or EDIs, to another organization that they're doing business with, they're the folks that would benefit from this partner manager solution. So trading partners dealing in the supply chain is really who this is for.
Yeah, it's funny how people can just think that partner manager can be only for the MuleSoft partners. I wonder where this misconception is originating from. There might be a very interesting story, I'm guessing.
I guess that's why, marketing and branding is so important sometimes. People will take like a name at face value and put their own assumptions around it, right? Without digging into it further. So that's definitely an action item on my list as product marketer, that we need to be more clearer about this being our B2B solution for integration.
Right.
I guess that is due to the kind of amazingness that the MuleSoft community brings. Like most of the MuleSoft community members are from one of the MuleSoft partners. So even before this product got introduced, there was just a lot of talks about MuleSoft partners everywhere, and maybe kind of that got etched in people's minds. Just a guess. Could be wrong. Could be right.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Wild guess.
Yeah.
That's a really great point. Yeah.
So when was this product introduced, Sarah? To GA,
I'm gonna
maybe?
ask Vijayan that question. When was this product released, Vijayan?
Yeah, so the product was kind of, there has been some older versions of this product that was built and rolled out by a third-party company pre-acquisition, and then like Salesforce decided to build the product in-house from the ground up. It was originally launched, I would probably call it as a soft launch with very limited functionality in late 2019, but the product has been going through a lot of innovations over the past 2+ years, and there is still a lot more to come. So yeah, the answer to your question is October 2019.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't aware this was an acquired product. It's interesting to know. Yeah.
True. And
we are learning a lot of new things.
Yeah. Basically, I just wanted to know the I guess, major difference between using Anypoint platform versus APM, Anypoint Partner Manager? How is it different? And because using Anypoint platform, you can build APIs too, right? And I'm pretty sure, I guess, we have functionalities where we can use EDI transactions as well and try to integrate in our Anypoint Studio. How is it different? What's the USP? Is that what I'm asking? If you compare it with Anypoint platform, or is it a part of Anypoint platform?
Yeah, it is part of Anypoint platform. I was
Okay.
going to make that point, and glad that you brought it yourself. So, which is why it's called as Anypoint Partner Manager. It's very similar to the other parts of the broader platform. So it's basically an extension or an abstraction layer, whatever you want to call it as. Under the covers, it uses all the greatness that the platform gives customers. Right? It uses the same runtime plane, whether it's CloudHub, and we recently added support for runtime fabric. It uses Anypoint MQ for reliability patterns. It uses the same connectors that you would use in a MuleSoft application that you build in Studio, like your SFTP connector, AS2 connector, and all of those good stuff. So when we talk about B2B integrations, right? Let me ask you a question. So when you build let's say you're working with a customer that has Salesforce as a CRM, Workday as a HR module, and SAP as the ERP. So you're basically building integrations, connecting internal systems. Maybe that could be hundreds of other systems and databases within the four walls of the enterprise. So you are using Studio to kind of drag and drop your Salesforce connector to pull up the case information and send it to ServiceNow, or bring account information or order information from Salesforce and send it to SAP or your billing system. So you basically build those integrations, obviously following all the reusability and the API-led connectivity approach and whatnot. When it comes to B2B integration, it's a whole different world, right? So in an internal system, like probably you're integrating like 5, 6, maybe 10, 15 major systems. And obviously stats say an average organization uses 900 plus or whatever that number is now, number of applications. But most of the core integration use cases enabled in the Anypoint platform are centered around some of those major internal applications and data sources. If we take B2B integration as an example, if you think of you walk into a Home Depot store, right? You see thousands and thousands of products on the shelves, right? Does Home Depot manufacture those products?
No.
Do they? No, right? Or you walk into a Walmart store, or you walk into a Macy's store, they all sell, like Amazon sells billions of things, right? Obviously Amazon has their own home brands. Now they've been acquiring some Amazon Essentials and things of that nature. But most of the products these major retailers sell in their online stores or in their physical stores are manufactured by one of the thousands of suppliers that they buy the products from.
Right.
So now, does Amazon, like, do you think, does Walmart have kind of the people that can actually call each one of their suppliers to kind of procure their products? Like if they want Logitech mouses, for example, they don't necessarily pick the phone and call Logitech and ask them to deliver a bunch of peripheral devices, right? So the typical integration between an organization and their business partners, it can be, if I'm a small company, maybe I'm selling a very limited set of products. Like, for example, there are stores that sell only kind of batteries. There are stores that sell only kind of sound products, for instance, and there are these big box retailers that sell zillions of products, right? So the integration between an organization and their partner ecosystem, it could be interacting with 10 partners, or you could be interacting with thousands of business partners, right? So this is where if you can definitely, theoretically, you can drag and drop your SFTP connector to go and grab a file from a remote SFTP server and then run it through an SQL connector to parse, or if they are spending an XML, you can put a data view to convert into your format. But imagine doing that with hundreds and thousands of partners, right? You would eventually have to build thousands of new applications that have to be coordinated, managed together to implement the interaction and integration with a very vast set of business partner ecosystem.
Right.
So Partner Manager under the covers uses the same thing, but what we have done in Partner Manager is abstracting a lot of those complexities and building a fully configuration-driven experience, right? If you want to, if you have to go to 100 remote SFTP servers and
Right.
bring files matching a specific naming convention, right? If Walmart is buying products from Logitech, maybe Logitech sends files with a specific naming convention. It's going through a different SFTP server, and if they have to go and grab files from a different partner, so Partner Manager provides a configuration or a form-based way of configuring those interactions with partners. So you're not dragging and dropping your SFTP or AS2 connector to build those integrations, but you're rather creating forms in a nice UI. And those forms are also there are APIs under the cover, so you can automate parts or parts of those partner onboarding process to go at a much faster pace. And at the same time, you are getting data from hundreds and thousands of partners, and each of those partners could be using different versions of EDAs, or some of them could be using custom XMLs, CSVs, and JSON. So it's all over the place. And especially if you're in the B2B business, your goal is to grow the business, right? You cannot be telling your customers, hey, I'm an API guy, right? I can only take orders in this JSON format. And if you don't send it in this format, I'm not going to do business with you. That's not something that a B2B company wants to sell. If doing that will limit their exposure to a very small set of customers, and obviously it's going to directly impact their revenue. So I think to give a short answer to your question, it's more of how we enable differentiated experiences through configurations and not having to manage the actual building of the applications using Studio. And the other couple of other things, right? For example, if you, let's say theoretically, you happen to have made the decision to build this all yourself using Anypoint Studio and not with Partner Manager, you're going to be spending a lot of time in building those hundreds and thousands of applications. And then operations is going to be a challenge, right? What if somebody changes their certificate, somebody changes their credentials, and maybe they have changed their specification, and you need to update their validation rules of how you process data coming from a particular partner. Then you're looking at updating your code, testing it, and then going through your CI/CD pipeline to get them deployed. So it's a lot of effort. And what if MuleSoft releases a new version of an SFTP connector to fix the vulnerability, right? You have thousands of apps that you need to update and deploy. That's another thing. And MuleSoft releases new features, right, that you are excited about. Now you have thousands of applications that you need to update to take advantage of those features. And then like you're probably looking at, hey, I'm going to be updating my first 10 partners flows getting updated. So then like there is obviously going to be a disjointed thing, like data coming from one group of partners is going to process through the new features, and the other is going to process through old features, and there is going to be those parity issues. And the other most important aspect is visibility of the business transactions, right? Especially when you are managing the interactions with, let's go back to our typical A2A example. So let's say you have built a Mule application or in an API-led fashion to sync your account information from Salesforce to SAP. So if something goes wrong and you have to troubleshoot, so those are both the source and the target systems are owned by you, right? You can obviously go to your Salesforce UI and look at what fields changed if there is a problem. or you can go to SAP and check what was the update that happened in SAP. So it's all in your control, and you have full visibility at the source and the target system. When it comes to exchanging transactions with hundreds and thousands of customers, and obviously a lot of times these business transactions, the reason why they're called as business transaction is they are subject to legal proceedings, they're subject to auditing. Like your auditors at the end of your fiscal year will come and ask, hey, show me the payload that corresponds to this particular purchase order that came from Walmart, right? What did Walmart send and what did you ship out? And we want to clarify. And then if they are not able to pull out those information quickly and easily, then they are not able to meet the auditing requirements, right? So then if you are taking the approach of building these B2B integrations using Studio, you have to build your own UI, right? Because MuleSoft as a platform does not offer any UI components that enables searching for transactions based on a particular field, like an order number or an invoice number, or based on a particular partner. So now with Partner Manager, if an auditor comes, hey, show me this PO number 1234 from Target, you're able to do that in a fraction of seconds, right? And you have to basically engineer it yourself, which involves you have to build some UI, you have to build some database, you have to build a lot of those framework all by yourself to meet some of those B2B specific requirements. And Partner Manager comes with an out-of-the-box visibility where all of these common capabilities are built for you to use straight off the bat.
Right.
I know that was a lot. That was a long answer to a simple question.
I mean, it is very complex, right, Vijayan? And I think the easiest way to think about it is Partner Manager is it's a game changer when you need to integrate beyond your own four walls, right? When you have to connect outside of your business and outside of connecting your applications internally. Because what Vijayan just described, the world is that B2B world is very complex when you're communicating outwardly, right? You've got the buyers, the sellers that he's describing, the logistics folks. How do we get these products onto the shelves and to the right locations? And think about all that communication. It's, order fulfillment, it's order acknowledgement, it's shipment notifications, it's invoices going back and forth. That's a lot of transactions and communication between buyer, seller, logistics, and all the different partners that you're working with to make sure that product gets into the hands of consumers, right? And you have to speak the same language between each other, have the right certificates. And there's a lot of different standards and regulations based off of where you are in the world as an organization, right? There's going to be different standards in UK versus the US versus, the Philippines, wherever. And so Partner Manager is essentially taking that all under one single hood and allowing everybody to speak the same language, right? And making that process more efficient. It's also speeding up how fast we can onboard other organizations and partners into your ecosystem so that you can communicate with those new partners as well. So it really is a game changer in it. And there's no easy way to explain it, I'd say. So Vijayan did a great job.
He did.
I do have a follow-up question. So now that Vijayan and Sarah, you described all the good things and wonderful things that Anypoint platform can do, you also mentioned a very good point, Sarah, that the vendor or our customer can be anywhere and can be doing the transactions between different countries for the same products with different rules, or I can say different guidelines, right? So does Anypoint Platform Manager Anypoint Partner Manager, my apologies, provide any sort of, help aiding points to cater to that need that, okay, this is going to be same product, but in different different regions, and how we can take care of it? Or are we thinking about this as an enhancement in the future releases?
I think I can take that question. So
Yeah.
not sure. Is this about how the product meets the needs of specific geographies?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So obviously, there are two most widely followed electronic data interchange standards. Like one
Right.
is X12, which is
Yeah.
predominantly used in North American market, and
Mhm.
EDIFACT, which is used widely in EMEA and APAC regions.
Mhm.
And there are also a lot of custom formats based on XMLs and JSONs and CSVs
JSON.
followed. So
Yeah.
Partner Manager
Yeah.
supports it's not married only to EDI standards, and we do have
Okay.
full support for X12 and EDIFACT, which meets the needs of most organizations. But at the same time, we also do support these other custom formats as well. So all through a unified visibility and management control.
Mhm.
So that consistency and using the product for any type of data. So we talked
Mhm.
about kind of searching for an order, right? When an auditor asks for to show the payload that came from customer A for a particular order, so that order could have not only come through X12 or EDIFACT standards, they could have also been in a CSV file. They could also have been XML or JSON. So that is where kind of the whole platform, one of the guiding principles that we work on is to maintain that level of consistency so that whether you're building an integration based on EDA standards or non-EDA standards, you have the same experience throughout the full life cycle, starting from onboarding your partner all the way through the operational management aspect of managing those transactions.
Okay. Yeah. That's sort of like, I think that answers my question brilliantly. Thanks, Vijay. But then that brings me to another. Sorry, do you want to say something? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was just curious about the deployment strategy that we follow with APM. Is it similar to what we do while creating APIs in Anypoint Studio, or is it different?
It is very different.
Okay.
There are two aspects when it comes to deployments of B2B
Mm-hmm.
integrations, right? So there
Mm-hmm.
is a runtime application component, and
Right.
there is the configuration component.
Mm-hmm.
So Partner Manager as a product out of the box takes care of your runtime application code base and its deployment. So when you build something and deploy, we automatically fire a deployment into your selected deployment target, which can be Cloud Hub or which can be Runtime Fabric with the recent feature release that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what customers and users do within the product is basically configuring your kind of partner flows, which basically involves a number of building blocks like your endpoints, for example. So let's say you're getting data from an external customer through HTTP, or you're being asked to go and grab the files from an SFTP location. So you would be configuring those aspects in Partner Manager. Hey, for this partner, I need to go to this SFTP location and grab it,
Right.
or most organizations expose AS2 and HTTP endpoints. So you can configure those things in Partner Manager. And you would also be configuring things like your mappings to translate from EDA or custom data
Okay.
formats into your internal formats. Uh, Most of these configurations that you put in Partner Manager as a UI, they change from environment to environment. You cannot, like, your endpoint for your process API to send your incoming purchase orders to eventually create an order in Salesforce or SAP.
Mm-hmm.
The credentials and the URLs and such things are typically going to differ between environments, right?
Right.
So you would either create those configurations which typically change between environments manually in the UI, or you can automate them by leveraging the platform API. So you would be interacting with Partner Manager platform APIs just like how you interact with Cloud Hub API or API Manager API or MQ API, or like
Right.
it's eventually it's first class citizen. It's completely integrated with the rest of the Anypoint core platforms. So that is how you would be managing the deployment aspects.
Cool. Good to know. Isrit, you were saying something. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my question can be a bit, but I just heard you saying, Vijayan, that we can deploy on Cloud Hub and Runtime Fabric. Do we have any other, or can we do an on-prem deployment, or is it just the two right now that is supported for runtime tracking?
No, we used to support on-prem deployment, but we deprecated it very recently because when it comes to B2B integrations, they are external facing, and most of the customers
Right.
that we have today, or almost all of the customers that we have today, and
Mhm.
the customers that are interested in our B2B integration capabilities, they want to either deploy it in MuleSoft hosted instance, which would be clouded, or there is, I'm sure you guys are aware of the expansion of the RTF footprint as a whole. So
Yeah.
those are going to be the two strategically supported deployment models for partner management.
Right. What about Cloud Hub 2.0? Is that supported too?
Not right now, but that is a top priority item for us heading into the next year. Certainly one of
Okay.
the most important things that we'll be enabling.
Perfect. I do
So
have a
another thing,
question.
like just to add
Sorry.
to your deployment question, right? The other thing that I wanted to also call out is um, since you guys are working on Mule projects day in and day out, right? So can you describe your experience? Like, what is your typical experience when it comes to, let's say, there is updating your code with the latest version of the connectors,
Mhm.
if there is a new feature that gets released. So what does, let's say, if you have 50 Mule applications that you have to update to take advantage of some of the new features in the newer versions of the connectors. So what does that experience look like if you are building
Um,
things in Studio?
yeah, my experience has been horrible with that. I had a client um, which was still using Salesforce connector 9.12. And
Mhm.
that's like very old, as we all know. Deprecated end of life support is finished. And we tried to update it and change it to latest, but it ruined the whole code because it seems like the output object is different now.
Right.
It's a different format, and it just broke the whole code. And we have to go back and then one by one take in the application to check how we have to identify where it's failing, and then convert the data type. It was very hectic, and it was very hot. It was the hardest point was that we couldn't we could not have identified the issue unless we had read the complete documentation, right? So it's not easy.
Sure. Okay, so let's say if you have hundreds of interfaces running in a Mule application, so I think you just multiply the whole experience of updating your connector dependencies and going through the testing phases and then eventually deploying. So in Partner Manager, from time to time, we release new product features and we release security fix. Obviously, things can go wrong and we release bug fixes, and which basically means we are releasing new versions of the templates, or most of the times we update the code base that we have. Like, for example, as I said earlier, we use a bunch of the MuleSoft platform components under the covers, the same connectors that you use in Studio. You're not using it directly, but then like Partner Manager takes care of building those applications for you based on the configuration that you create. And one of the other important things with uh, Partner Manager is when MuleSoft releases new product features, which may include newer versions of the connectors, newer configurations, newer properties in your application, newer functionality, all it takes to upgrade your environment is clicking a button, taking a cup of coffee, and by the time you finish your coffee, your environment would be upgraded. So all the connected dependency upgrades and everything is automatically taken care by the product. So, and especially this is why kind of earlier I was talking about the uniqueness of B2B integrations, where you have to build,
Mm-hmm.
even if you are exchanging 4 types of data with 100 partners, you're easily looking at 400 unique interfaces, right? And all of them have to work in tandem. Like there are a number of aspects like control numbers, right? You are sending an invoice to a customer and you're sending a shipment notice to a customer. There are sequence numbers that have to actually overlap between them. So there's a lot of complexities, and like one of the key objectives for the product is how we can make it all easy and as painless as possible for customers when it comes to upgrading, when it comes to deploying. So you're not exposed directly to the underlying complexities and from a coding perspective or from an infrastructure standpoint.
Okay, but in the event that we do want to, peek at the underlying code, or just touch it, or even make small modifications, can we do it?
No, you
No?
theoretically you can do it, but you should not be doing it. The reason is
Okay.
exactly when the very point that I was just talking about, like
Yeah.
upgrading, right? When
Yeah.
you click the upgrade button in Partner Manager, we don't know what changes you may have made to that code, right, since the last deployment. So we take that original baseline code and we are actually going to be deploying it to your runtime again, maybe with a newer version of the connector and some additional features that we have introduced. So what that means is if you have made some changes to those code, those would,
It'll be
because there is
overwritten.
no way,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got it. No, absolutely makes sense. I know we're very short on time, but shouldn't you have some questions before we
I
wrap
get
up?
what Vijayan was saying. I was just hoping that this feature we can have in Anypoint Studio as well, Vijayan. So it will help us, not changing form.xml again and again and updating the version for the connector.
Yeah.
Perfect. I do have a question for Sarah, actually. Sarah, I just wanted to know, since this product is not new, I would say, why Salesforce is putting more and more resources on this product now? Is there any particular reason behind it? Did you guys get a lot of traction for this product? That's the reason for this move. If you can elaborate a bit on that.
I think there's a lot of culminating reasons for why we're putting more energy on Anypoint Partner Manager. I think that B2B integration has always been such an important part of a business's integration play, right? And their overall integration strategy. Partner Manager has, as we've talked about, it's been enhanced significantly over the past year or so, in large part thanks to Vijayan and his team, to meet the customers where they are and what they need to be able to execute this effectively and more efficiently. There were some gaps, if we're going to be honest, and this is a podcast, so we can say that, there were some gaps, right? As far as features, things like transaction replay, that were not implemented onto the product previous to Vijayan joining the team and saying, hey, we got to prioritize this, get this on the roadmap, get it launched because customers need this, right? So we've brought the product to a place where we can be even more effective for customers. We're seeing that in our customers' deployments, and we won't, we're with NDA, so we can't name all the different customers and use cases, but I will say that Mad Engine, who we did a theater session with at Dreamforce this past year, they are really excited about what this has been able to do for their deployment and in making it much more efficient for them to be able to onboard their partners, right? And there's tons of stories like that. Some we can't say publicly, some we can, like with Mad Engine. So that's part of it, where we're starting to see the results. There are more stories to tell, and other businesses want a piece of that. They want to be able to implement this and make it more effective for themselves and their partners as well. The other thing is that our product marketing team, admittedly, we work on tons of different products, and we didn't have enough resourcing to give a little bit more juice to every single piece of our platform, but now we do. I feel very happy to be now solely dedicated on Partner Manager with Vijayan. And so with this focus, we're able to say, well, how else can we get the word out? So it's all of these things combined. And we're not going to stop here. We'll be coming back for another podcast. There's going to be more releases we want to talk about, Jane and I and the team. So we're just getting started. Next year, there's going to be a lot more. So stay tuned for that. Vijayan and I will hopefully still be side by side, and be able to share all the good news with you. And by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, me and Vijayan are wearing the same color, and that was not planned.
Wow.
So we just this is like us connected as product
manager.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys think alike. Smart people think alike.
Oh, he's far more intelligent than I am when it comes to the technology, but yes.
Just to add to what Sarah just mentioned, right? That was a great question, Shubham, by the way. So let's take a scenario where, let's say we know, like I think by now we know what B2B integrations enable, right? You're getting orders from Walmart or Home Depot, right? And eventually where those orders go, right? They don't just disappear in the air, right? They have to go to one of the execution systems, which is SAP, which is Dynamics 365, which is NetSuite, Salesforce. And like, what is the best platform that helps to take data in and out of those systems? It's Anypoint platform, right?
Yes.
The world knows it. And a lot of organizations historically have been leveraging kind of using different products for different purposes in the past, right? They used to have dedicated EDI product that can do only EDI. So the EDI, that product, let's call it ABC, that receives data in EDI format. It converts into a copybook or a flat file or a CSV or XML, and then it hands off to another ESB process, which actually sits on top of the underlying systems of records. Like those platforms could be one of the legacy integration products or modern integration platforms like Anypoint. So you have two different disjointed integration platforms, one doing EDI, one doing integration with the applications, essentially orchestrating one single business process workflow, like creating an order, shipping an order out, right? So the problem with that approach that has been historically followed is what happens if there is an issue with the plumbing, right? Like you need to involve people with two different skill sets, right? You need to call the SAP integration team, which may be working on a platform like Oracle SOA Suite or MuleSoft, and then they like, hey, this data that we got from the EDA product, which is the ABC, there is going to be a lot of back and forth, pointing fingers, and in getting to the root of a problem can take a longer. And for customers, they have to manage relationship with multiple vendors, right? They have to have a contract with MuleSoft or like one of the integration platform from an application standpoint. They have to have a contract with another EDA product. They have to hire people with different skill set. They have to hire they have to run different infrastructure for doing EDI and for application integration. But then like with Anypoint Partner Manager being part of the Anypoint platform, it's the same data weave, whether you're mapping a Salesforce order object into NetSuite or whether you're mapping an EDA purchase order into an SAP format IDOC, you have the same transferable skill set. And when it comes to runtime, it's the same runtime that executes your APIs, that executes these EDA integration workloads, right? So a lot of customers like Madigen or Driscoll's, who we had the pleasure of talking in the previous Dreamforce, they all have one single unified integration team that is able to build APIs for integrations, build EDA integrations with Partner Manager, but then like there is a lot of those disciplines, and they are now able to leverage Anypoint platform components like monitoring, so they can take the transmission ID from Partner Manager and they can trace it all the way through the SAP system API, process API, and whatnot. So it is that kind of consolidation and having one single unified experience of managing all the interactions. So now for them, the entire order to cash workflow is happening through one single platform. In the past, it used to be two separate products that don't really talk to each other well. So
Okay. That's
even if we
interesting.
look
Yeah.
at some of the recent blog posts from analysts like Forrester and Gartner, we will see more and more emphasis being made with B2B integrations becoming an integral part of the broader iPaaS platform play.
Wow. Okay. I know we are coming to an end, and we still have a lot more to discuss. Seems like I definitely think we needed a part 2 for this podcast. One last thing I wanted to ask, which you don't have to answer me. It's just a curious question that I had in my mind. So, Shubham and I attended the Dreamforce this year, and it seemed like everything about Dreamforce was AI centric. And we recently had ACB come out with AI. So do you also have plans on having such add-ons? Will you be playing around with AI?
It is we definitely will be exploring how we can enable AI from a B2B and EDI transaction processing standpoint. More to come kind of as we go through some of the planning exercises for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for answering that. So I would like to thank both of you. Before you stop recording, Shubham, I just wanted to ask if Sarah or Vijayan, both of you, and if you have anything to say to our viewers or, to us, or any comments, any last feedback.
I think it's really awesome that the both of you have started Between Two Mules and are, building this community of folks who want to learn more, collaborate with each other, and share with each other what they've learned while digging into the different MuleSoft technologies, because there's so much untapped potential, and sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And we definitely need help getting started, right, as we innovate and build things. So you providing this kind of view into the different worlds, the different minds of our product leaders like Vijayan and his team to help us understand how we can leverage the product better is such an important part. And so thank you. And I hope your listeners and your viewers keep watching and listening, and we're all on this journey together to learn.
Definitely.
Thanks, Sarah.
I mean, that's the plan, so that we can all learn and grow together.
Yeah, and I need to learn how to say Galifianakis better. I was struggling so hard to say that Galifianakis in the beginning.
I think
I said it right this time. Put that into the end.
Yes, definitely. Perfect. Vijayan, any closing statements? Anything else you would like to add?
No, I mean, this was a great conversation. I think there was a lot of interesting questions, and thank you for hosting us today. And maybe a message to the viewers or the broader community that will be watching this is, please watch some of the materials that are made available. It may sound like a complex product if you look at it from an outsider point of view, but once you're into it, there's a lot of interesting things, and it actually solves some of the world's most complex problems. But same time, once you understand the concept, it's pretty much it's going to be very easy to understand it. And if you look at all the demos that we do, like basically it's doing the same thing over and over again, because that's the beauty of standardization, right? Things are standard, so you're basically having the same message, and it's a very common problem. And more importantly, it's a very common and repeatable solution.